So to make this shelf, all we need is 2 boards, a 2x4 cut to 28.5 inches long and a 1x10 cut to 36 inches long. The first thing you want to do is rip the 1x12 to the same width that the 2x4 is. So now we have these 2 boards the same width as the 2x4 and the remaining piece of the 1x12, which will be a scrap board for now. So we want to take the 2x4 and put it on top of the scrap board and line that up so that this edge is flush. Then we can take one of these other boards and place it on top of the 2x4. So now we have the 2x4 sandwiched in between these boards. So now we can take this other board that's the same width as the 2x4 and stand it up on this end. When everything is flush on this end, we can make a line across this board. So here's the line we just made. We want to cross cut and leave the line on this side. This is the piece that we want. So these are the 2 boards that are the same width as the 2x4. This is the scrap piece. We want to cut another section off of this other board the exact same size as this. For now, we can set these 2 boards aside, and then we want to cross cut these 2 boards the same length as the 2x4. Next, we want to again sandwich the 2x4, but this time we're going to use the boards that are the same length and width as the 2x4. So after the 2x4 is sandwiched between those boards, we can rotate everything over on top of the extra board we have. So when this board is flush with the bottom board, we can then mark this side where this board lines up. Then we want to rip this board to take this much off. So when this board is ripped to the same width as the sandwich, we can place the sandwich on top of this board and then bring back these 2 pieces and place them on each end of this. And then mark this board, which is where we'll make the last cross cut. So the last cut that we want to make will actually be on the 2x4, and we're just going to trim about 1/2 inch off of one end so that this is easier to remove after we build the frame. So once the 2x4 is shortened up, we can reassemble the shelf with the 2x4 inside of it. And then this piece will go on top. So everything lined up very nicely. So now we can go ahead and assemble the frame. So to keep this side secure and from sliding back and forth, I like to use a clamp on this end. This doesn't have to be super tight. This is really just holding this piece up against these pieces. So with everything secure, we can put glue around the outside of this and then secure this board on top with brad nails. And so it's okay to put the brad nails in on this board and the back board, but don't do it on the sides yet because we're going to pull those pieces off and glue them before we use brad nails to secure them. Now we can pull the clamps off and glue the sideboards in. We can go ahead and slide the 2x4 out before doing the other side. And then finally flip this over and get the side pieces from the top. So at this point we have the 2x4 and the shell of the shelf. We're going to attach this to the wall using the 2x4. So wall studs are standard 16 inches apart. So we want to measure 2 spots that are 16 inches on this board. And then we want to cut notches out about halfway down the board. So at this point, we're ready to stain, and this is the stain I'm going to use. So after the stain is dry, we can prepare the 2x4 to go up against the wall. So since studs are 16 inches apart on center, we want to drill a hole here and a hole here that are 16 inches apart. Now, if your studs are not 16 inches apart, you can move the hole one way or the other, or even move this hole cut out one way or the other to line up with the wall studs. This wall is unfinished, so I know where the studs are. If this wall was finished, you can use a stud finder to find where the studs are. So I know there's a stud right here, so I can put the first screw on the shelf in right here. So after the first screw is in, you can use a level. And then when that's level, you can secure the second screw into the stud. And now this piece is securely attached to the wall. So now we just simply slide the shelf on and the floating shelf will be finished. So that's what the shelves look like when they're mounted. And if you want to take them back off, you can just pop the shelf off. Here's a few pictures of the finished product. I think these turned out great. Let me know what you think in the comments. Thanks for watching, and if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe.